Yes, 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 indeed. Nitro's the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another interview. This time, I got Racing Jason in the house. So I'll let you guys know who Racing Jason is in a second. But before we do that, I want to say thank you to all of you guys out there, the NNRC squad. We can't do it without you guys. Keep hitting that sub, like, notification button, sharing these podcasts. It helps us grow our channel. We are on the road to 10,000 subs right now. We're at almost 8,600. So next up, 9,000. And then after that, 10,000 subs. And we are going to celebrate. So thank you very much. If you guys like what we're doing here and want to support the podcast a little bit extra, there are links in the written description for our NNRC Patreon, or you can become a YouTube member. For the price of a cup of coffee per month, you can support us, and it greatly helps us. Also, we can't do this without these awesome companies that make it possible. We have links for all of them in the written description. Some you can save some money on. Some we make a little bit of money on. Some are just links. Let them know you heard about them on the No Name RC podcast. They are our title sponsor, J Concepts. Big shout out to them. High Tech RC, Sidewinder Fuels, Invisible Speed, ML Toys for all your ride-on vehicle needs. A big shout out to Beach RC, Techno RC, Get Shiz Done Coffee, Elite RC Productions, One Up Racing, Mayako, A Main Hobbies, SM Racing Batteries, Shaw's Truck Nationals. Don't forget, Shaw's Truck Nationals is coming up October 16th, 17th, and 18th. They're in Ardmore, Oklahoma. I said Oklahoma. I guess some people might say Oklahoma. A big shout out to our drivers, David Runnefalk, Robert Battier, Alexander Hagberg, Matty G, Pecco Evening, Una Hotnan, and the Iceman, Mason Fuller. All right, everybody, we are back. And this week in the virtual studio is probably don't know who he is, but you've seen his track. It's that awesome backyard track with lots of bowls and crossovers. It looks like it's in the woods. It's up there in the Pacific Northwest. I didn't realize he also listened to the podcast. So we got talking on TikTok because I really like his stuff. I really enjoy that backyard track. It looks awesome. And I started talking to him and found out what he does for a living and how much he likes RC. So we decided to shoot and have a podcast and talk about his backyard track, what he does for a living up there in Washington. And yeah, it's cool because, you know, he has a popular TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook presence. That cool track, lots of bulls. It looks awesome. It's like the perfect backyard track, but it looks like it's in the forest. But we'll find out where it is. Is that his backyard or is that the forest now? But anyway, hope you guys like this. Thank you, Racing Jason, for being a part of this. And thank you, J Concepts, for all the support. Joining me in the virtual studio is I think most people have seen his videos, but may not know who he is behind the videos. But we have Racing Jason, Jason Cocking, as AKA Racing Jason. I guarantee you have seen his video of his absolutely awesome backyard track on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So how this happened is I think I liked one of your TikTok videos the other day because I do watch a lot of your content because I think that your track is just looks like so much fun, and it's always got short course trucks running on it, and I'm geeking out on short course trucks. But welcome to the NNRC, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Excited that people are sharing my stuff and seeing my stuff. Got some cool stories to share, and want to learn more about you as well. So.
Well, I think we're going to have a great discussion. I'm going to put up a video of your track so people do know what we're talking about. But man, what a badass backyard track you have there.
I appreciate that. It's there's been a lot of work. I've been working on that one for like 5 years. I had a track at the house we used to live at, and I think I had like 5 layouts on that thing in a couple years. Moved, and I started that one, and then I actually built an 8 scale track up on the other side of the property, and that's still up there, but it's a little bit tougher to get to, so we don't go up there nearly as much. Came back down, worked a ton on the 10 scale track, just because it's easy to get to. I walk right out the garage, plug in the lights, and we're 100 steps to get down there, so it's just more convenient.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. From the videos, it looks like it's in the middle of a forest.
We're out there a little ways. When people come to the house, especially for the first time, they're like, "Oh, you're a little deep out here, and the road is narrow," and But realistically, I'm probably 25 minutes from Microsoft, so we're not that far out there.
Right, because you're located in Washington State, right?
Yeah, we're like probably 40 minutes out of Seattle, 35 minutes out of Seattle.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we're gonna get it. You have also an interesting full-time job, and you come from an interesting past in racing. I always like to find out how people got into RC. So how did that happen for you?
I've been around off-road and realistically RC since I was a little kid. My dad was actually racing Super 1600 buggies back in the Mickey Thompson days. He ran a few races in the series, and we had a local short track, probably, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours north of our house. And some of my earliest memories were going up to that track, and it was awesome. And there was an RC track in the parking lot right when you drove in. So, and I distinctly remember that even as a, 3-year-old kid. They were definitely running 2-wheel drive off-road buggy. The track was cool. I remember right up near the fence, there was a really big jump onto the front straightaway. And I just loved off-road and building jumps and tracks. It was BMX jumps when I was a kid. And I've been building RC tracks whenever I can, wherever I can for like 25 years. So definitely been addicted to dirt racing and off-road cars and everything else for as long as I can remember. So
I think everybody who got a RC car back in the day when they were kids made some form of backyard track or some form of track somewhere.
Yeah.
If you didn't, So, but yours is really nice now up there in your backyard. So did you ever get a chance to do any RC racing when you was younger?
When I was 13, I got a ready to run, what was it? The GT, the stadium truck, and did a little bit of racing. I was more into baseball at that point. And then we were racing indoor oval cars on the dirt, basically in a horse arena, from the time I was about 11 to about the time I was 17, 18. And then from there, jumped into a full-size sprint car for about 5 years. So the RC racing itself was relatively minimal. I did just a little bit with that thing when I was around 13, 14. And then kind of full circle when I was in my 20s. We did some of the sprint car stuff, like I said. And then I just had extra money to have the toys that I wanted. So got into it a little bit, got a truck. And I remember the first time I was in an indoor track, I saw an 8-scale truggy, and I was like, oh, I got to have one of those. So that kind of reignited it. And we had a track pretty close to the place I was living, up a little north from here. So started going there, started racing a little bit, and then kind of been on and off, in and out for, almost 20 years now, 15 plus years back in it, and then building my tracks for the last 8 or 9 years now. So.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. So you come from full scale racing. You told me a little bit about it because you actually what Jason does for a living, he works for DirtFish, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. I'll bring up their website and stuff like that, as a driver instructor. But you came from the winged sprint car racing. Tell us a little bit about that. So obviously I don't know too much about it. I've seen it, but I know people that are listening know about it, but maybe explain it to people and how that all works and how that lifestyle was.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely nothing like a wing sprint car. I know Dirt Oval and RC is pretty popular. Definitely just watched Ryan's video on his Chili Bowl win. It's definitely a dream of mine to go get in big car at Chili Bowl. And I played a lot of baseball in high school. And then when it was time to decide to either follow that, go into college, or stick around and try to go racing, I decided to go to the college that was kind of closest, and we could put a race car together and go to the local track. And had a really good track up here. It's one of the best paying races on the new national tour. So the High Limit Series that Kyle Larson started with his brother-in-law, Brad Sweet. They had a big race that paid $126,000 to win last year. And it was Tony Stewart's new driver, Rico, that won the thing. And there's just nothing like a sprint car, especially. But dirt oval racing is just so good, so competitive. If you haven't seen a sprint car race, you should definitely go. So you should definitely check it out. The 410 cars, I mean, are pushing 1,000 horsepower now, and the things weigh 1,250 pounds. I've never been in a 410. I drove a 360, and the last car I was in, I think we had about 730 horse, and the weight rule was 1,475 with me in it. So the car probably weighed 1,300 pounds. So they're wild.
All right. So you chose racing over baseball. You went to a closer college. So that was it for baseball after that? Or did you continue playing baseball?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Nowadays, my oldest son is a big baseball fan, baseball player. So kind of coming full circle and coaching a little bit. Yeah, I got a 10-year-old that's a baseball fanatic. So,
well, I live here in the DR, right? So that is life here.
Yeah.
Baseball is life. Like every single team in the major league has an academy here. I think my wife's cousin, he's been in an academy since he was like 12. You know, so they got him young, and then they try to get them signed out when they're 16 and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I like baseball. I've never been to a game. Would love to go to a game, but I like baseball myself. So good luck to your son. I didn't realize how big. Like it's so much. As I've traveled around the USA and see how much because a lot of RC stuff seems to be near baseball stuff, especially where I travel to. So it's amazing how many people are into baseball and how much money is in it, even in the young side of things.
Oh yeah, training facilities and all sorts of stuff. So he is deep into it for sure. He's pretty spoiled and gets to go to some games. He went to the World Series 2 years ago when the Yankees got in, because Grandpa's a big Yankees fan. But it's been fun to see him play, fun to see him enjoy something the way I enjoy racing. So
awesome. So tell us a little bit about your racing years. How far did you get into that? What was your highest achievement in that?
Definitely didn't do nearly as much as I wanted to. Like you said, I have a pretty unique job teaching people how to drive race cars. And I think I've learned so much in becoming the instructor and seeing what people do in the car and learning just more myself. I think I'm twice as good of a driver as I was back when I was racing sprint cars. And I wish I had that knowledge moving back. So I definitely want to get into a race car in some way, shape, or form again. We ran that 360 car on and off for about 5 years. I think I was right around the Rookie of the Year in the local track, and then we ran a traveling series at the last part. Won a couple races, but never had too much success. And since then, especially the last time I raced a big car was 2011, and everything has just continued to get more and more expensive. I think we were spending in the high 20s to 30 on a motor. The last year I ran is what we put into it, and a 410 motor is $80,000 now.
Oh wow! Now I'm naive and ignorant to this. Do you guys win money when you race these races?
Definitely. Even on a local level, you can win money. And the local track that I was talking about that had the $126,000 to win race has one of the best paying weekly 410 races really throughout the country. I think their weekly 410 show is paying $5,000 to win.
Okay.
So there is money in it, and a lot of those guys, especially the traveling guys, a good handful of them on both tours, the sprint cars and the late models, those guys are making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000.
So what eventually led to you to stop racing full time?
Predominantly just the money stuff. I mean, I would jump in a race car today. My only fear now would really just be getting hurt now that I have kids. But I still love driving. I love to compete. And I do it, in the rally cars from a instruction perspective, but competition, of course, is obviously different, which I get some of that in the RC stuff. So, I mean, I always want to compete.
Okay. So now did you automatically transition from racing to going to work for DirtFish, or how did that happen?
No, there was probably a good 5-year gap between the two. I was actually a casino dealer for like 9 years before that, so quite a bit different industry. And then we had our first son, and my wife told me it was time to stop working nights. So I was looking for something else and just kind of found it by chance. I actually knew an instructor that our dads raced off-road buggies together, and then he ended up driving for Traxxas in a pro light back in the Midwest in the Champ off-road stuff. And then he was an instructor here. And we're still good friends. He actually races at TRCR at Tacoma, which is local to me too, if you know that track.
Yep. That's Scott Braun's track, right?
Yep, that's Scott Brown University, as they call it up here. I've only ran there a couple times, but he does some cool programs, puts in some cool layouts. So definitely have respect for that place.
Yeah, as we're recording this, you guys actually have a race at PDX this weekend there. Is that in your area?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That's probably a good 2.5 hours south. And I'm not a carpet guy, so you're probably not going to find me at carpet stuff.
And I like it all, but I like carpet too.
Yeah.
But you actually live in a very good area, the Pacific Northwest, for RC. So especially during the summer.
Yeah, we've got some good stuff. We've always had the NCT. I've done a handful of those guys. Nora up in Burlington is a good track. That was probably the last time before this winter that I ran a full series, and they had Joey come up and build the last layout. And then we've got Die Hard now. It's a gorgeous facility, big off-road track, and they just built a new indoor track that I ran.
Yeah, I actually got a chance to go up to I didn't go to an NCT race, but I have family up in Seattle, Tacoma. My brother and sister live up there. My dad used to live up there too.
Nice.
So I went to visit them, and I took my brother to go see some guys. This is way back in 2018, but I know a lot of Pacific Northwest racers, good dudes, good community up there. Lots of guys from Canada come down, so it's a good place to race.
Yeah, it's a great place to race up here. I mean, there's good competition, but I think the communities and kind of the friendships and everything that go along is really important up here, which is great to see. Not people, keeping people out in any way, shape, or form. So it's awesome to see welcoming communities. I know Die Hard is a massive, massive kind of pillar around here in community. Which I think is awesome. And that's a big, focus of mine, is just kind of presenting the hobby and trying to show it to more people, and really just trying to grow. One of the coolest things for me is just hearing people say that they're building their own tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want to share the cars I run to hopefully give them the better experience with the good quality race stuff. So that's kind of the next step that I want to take, is sharing the cars. And then we tested out a little race at my house a couple weeks ago now that I'm really excited about, because I want to see if we can host races. I know parking is probably going to be the biggest hurdle. And then I want to try a different format, like we talked about a little bit. Because personally, I think that's one thing that might be holding RC back, is not necessarily specifically the format, but just how long everything takes. And especially at a club level, I think things just need to get shorter, so more people are willing to go and hang out for half a day, not an entire day. And one of my biggest, YouTube videos last year was just about the format. And
Mhm.
like you alluded to, a lot of people complained and said, I'm fine with being at the track all day. Um, and a lot of people are, but I think that's the people that are racing already, and not the people that we want to try to attract to RC racing. So my philosophy would be a shorter event. Then people can get home to their families or jobs or whatever else they need to do. And the guys that are hardcore and want to stay all day could have open track for 2-3 hours and run as much as they want. Is kind of my philosophy.
We are kind of on the same, like we've been preaching like JQ Max, even when we're driving home from races, like with Elite, Lance and I be talking, it's like we need to change format. Like it's too much qualifying in RC
Way too
racing.
much.
And
I think we should call it RC qualifying at this point. We might as well just call it that.
Now, so here's my thing. I'm glad I was going to leave this tangent for later on, but we're here, so we might as well get into it. I like both. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I like both sides. So I do enjoy IFMAR style qualifying, and the purest RC in me enjoys that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've also been a part of heads up racing qualifying, like RCGP did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Reedy race on the invite level was no qualifying. It was just like, yeah, here you start, and it provided some of the best racing we could talk about, right? And we have constantly talked about. I know it's for JQ, it's a pet peeve. He doesn't want to be at the track all day. And look, for me, I have no issue. I love the social aspect of it, but we're thinking of people like me who are already involved in it and know it and enjoy that part of it. But for, say, taking my son there or my daughter there to be racing, or a family getting into it, it has to be quick, right? Because the attention span and the not instant gratification, but there's so much other things you can do in 3 hours, let's say, and be done.
I mean, you look at other sports, or like golf is a super popular hobby, right? Everything people talk about is like the pace and how they don't want it to take 5.5 hours. It should be a 4-hour thing, vice versa. And I think especially on a club level, if we can shorten it, that's when you're going to get new people into the hobby. One of the things that I did this winter, and it was only possible because I live very close to the track, was I would go up and practice a little bit. I'd run heat 1, and then I would go home until the main, and I would just come back and then hang out and have the social aspect around the main event. And even in the morning before the heats, of course, I'm talking to people. But just to shorten up the day. And I mean, guys are getting there at 8 in the morning and leaving after 8 p.m. for a club race. Not to mention their drive time. So, I mean, you're talking a 14-hour day for a club race.
Yeah, that's
that is
hard
only
to
going to have the hardcore people there. It's going to be the same group of guys. And I mean, we all love this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. So the same guys are going to keep doing it. But I think just to get more people in, you got to shorten it up somehow. So
I think that's part of it. I think probably being a bit more extroverted at races as well for people, new people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is the RC nerd in us wants to have the hardest track out there, right? But
some people don't.
Look,
me, yes, I want the hard stuff. I enjoy the challenge.
Right. But for that person coming into it, we have to also think about them, right? So they need to have traction. They need to be able. I think the jumps isn't an issue. If you can do a jump, I think most people want to get that exhilaration of, oh man, I just did a jump, right?
I mean, that's what an off-road car is for, right? You want to do the jumps.
Exactly. But if they can't even line up to do the jump because they don't have traction, or it's blown out where they can't handle it, you're not going to keep their attention. And then, of course, the hardcore racers will be like, well, they got to learn setup. Hold on. They're not going to learn setup in the 15 minutes that they're driving. So you brought something up earlier about Die Hard, right? So Die Hard has an AstroTurf track, which I think is, I hope it's recovered. I know it got flooded here a few months ago during that big flooding.
Yeah, they'll recover. I know they did some fundraising and they've been posting pictures and videos. They'll come back stronger.
But that's like almost perfect, right? I know you're not a carpet fan,
No,
but that's
but I think
perfect
it's
for the new
great for
person.
people like you're talking about, like having traction, be able to drive
Mhm,
the car. And that's why it's great to have options.
mhm.
And I know my track's challenging as far as a traction standpoint. Because we're going to do a little bit of racing, my thought is actually to do like a shortcut for the novice class. So they skip the
Mm.
toughest section of the track and just shorten it up. Um, a big thing that I preach now is the track's the same for everybody. So everybody at the same level as you is going to struggle with the same stuff. Um, and that's something my dad always taught me as a kid, especially in the dirt cars when I was complaining about a rough racetrack. It was always, that's great, but the track's the same for everybody. So the guys that are kicking your ass are dealing with the same stuff.
But it's true.
100%. I remember a race night where the track was just super rough and we went out for qualifying and everyone's trying to pound the fence down and going through the rough stuff and wadding up cars. And this kid that grew up in the same town as me went down to the bottom of the racetrack, rolled down nice through the smooth stuff, and beat all of us by a second. So
Really.
he was just the smartest guy. So it was a funny thing to see. And I mean, my track is real off road. It's going to get rough. When we did our little mock race 2 weeks ago, I had to slow way down in the main event, do holes and bumps and stuff to think about, and the track completely changed, which is one of the fun sides of it for me. If the track is too perfect and the lines are the same, um, it's monotonous in my eyes. You're trying to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. So
So I come from
that's the
the
fun
old
part for me.
I come from the old school where our tracks were rough, right?
Yeah,
And
that stuff's awesome.
I I I raced my e-truggy at Mills Pond last year in the last round of the Florida
Mhm.
race, and it got blown out. The jumps
Yeah,
were great, but it had craters and fluff.
yeah,
And dude, I had now mind you, I had an e-truggy, which I think is the arguably the best handling vehicle out there. But
yeah,
I would just jump into like I would go into a corner and my car would almost disappear to see the wing. But I knew that if I just turned and gunned it, I would ride that berm that was a
yeah,
rut, or I just trusted the fluff, right? Trusted the cushion.
yeah.
And it was fun. I like
I love seeing
everybody
the
was,
cushion.
dude, people were pissing and mooning. It's so rough. I'm like, look, it's rough for everybody.
The same for
I'm
everybody.
I'm enjoying I think it was some of the most fun racing I've done. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It reminded me of back in the day,
Yeah,
but I get it why people don't like that too, you know?
yeah.
So,
And it's not for everybody.
mhm.
I know one of the tracks local to us that's closed now. The hobby shop just moved, but their track was like that. I very specifically remember they had a right hand corner onto the front straightaway, and it was super wide, but it always had that little loamy berm, and it was one of my favorite spots that you didn't have to go to the inside. And then another time they had a 90 into this like off camber 180, and because everyone fought for the inside, it got so rough that in the main event I just went around the outside. It was super smooth every time, and I was gaining a few tenths probably every lap right there. So that little stuff of like searching for something smooth is always fun to me. It's one of the things I love watching DNC, like watching Mayfield look for something smooth and go to the non-traditional line and watching him win the nitro mains like that.
You know who takes credit for that? Greg Delani. He says, "Yeah, Mayfield watched me do that." And then
Yeah.
'cause I've watched Greg do that too. Just go out in the fluff while everybody's in
Mhm.
there huckabuck, all
Yeah.
wonky jawed, going into trying to get the inside. He's just like around the outside.
And when the tracks are so perfect and everyone has to fight for the inside, the line is kind of boring to me, honestly. It's more exciting when it gets rough and you have to, it gets give and take. One of the things I think that I do pretty well on my tracks is I build the berms and make the layouts to where the outside is pretty good a lot of the time.
Well, let's have a video. Let's have a quick look at your track. I just picked one of your random shorts. Make sure go
Uh,
straight again. Oh, is this a?
yeah, you should pick a different one that shows more of the track.
Here we go. Hold on. Let me go through here.
Yeah, those are all pretty good.
Oh wow.
That's an old one. That was our last house. So yeah, there's just a bunch. This is me basically words on the layout.
This isn't too bad. Let's see if I can find one. Is that your son? Kids?
Yeah, those are my kids.
Nice. Let's see if we can find one.
That's yeah. Go to the Truggy one. Go back down a couple.
This looks nice.
That was the race. That's the very end of the race we did. So that's how the track currently looks. Other than it's really wet because we've had rain for the last week and it actually snowed this morning. So covered in snow.
Dude, I just like the Woes, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big crossover fan because I think they're dangerous, but on this type of track it's not too bad because you're not got
We're not going too
danger.
fast. We're not running 8-scale cars. I think about that stuff too.
Mhm.
And I recently saw 2 people get hit in the head by an 8-scale buggy, so very cognizant. And honestly, for the most part, I mean, it's me and maybe a few buddies running on the track. So this is the first time we've really thought about putting more guys on there. So
Mhm.
the safety aspect and what we're going to do is definitely at the forefront of my mind. And what we're going to do is just a little 3-race series. And I think I'm going to change at least one thing on the track for all 3 rounds. So it's at least something different. And the crossovers definitely might be part of that. So we'll see.
I don't mind that. They're also not crossovers that sending you head height, right? They're sending you, okay, if you hit somebody, it's probably going to be not saying you don't want to hit anybody, but I think like every time I see this track, it's like it's just got enough moisture on it. And it's like, I think the best is like when it's nighttime. And I'm just like, and I see maybe a few trucks and I'm like, man, them short course trucks look so good out there.
I just love the short course trucks because of how they drive. But also trying to encourage other people to drive stuff. They're the only thing that people that don't race RC are going to see and then see full size off-road racing, right? 8-scale Nitro buggy look like anything somebody's going to go actually sit in and drive. So for me, that's a cool aspect as far as like a potential growth in RC. And I've been around short course off-road stuff and the Mickey Thompson stuff since I was a little kid. My bachelor party, actually, I drug 7 of my buddies out to Crandon to watch the June off-road races.
Yeah.
I would give anything to get into one of those things.
That looks badass.
So cool. So cool. So
we're missing, like, my dream would, like, it would be cool to have an RC race alongside one of those things, like something like that.
A thing that I think about or dream of is there's actually a track in the parking lot at Crandon.
Really?
I think it would be a race on like the Thursday night before their big Labor Day weekend race. You know, even if it's short course or e-buggies or whatever it might be. I mean, definitely potential for that.
Awesome. Let's go back to the format because you had an interesting form. You're coming up with an interesting format or did an interesting format for your race. Maybe you can explain how it worked.
Yeah, we only had 12 guys out. Like I said, it's one of my concerns is parking. So we're going to figure that out and make a little bit more parking and get creative. And I mean, I had a guy text me this morning on my way here and say, hey, when are you doing these races? Because I want to fly up from California to come up and do just your backyard race. So it's cool to hear that. And again, my goal is to have a shorter format. So being a dirt racer, one of my first ideas was having 2-lap qualifying, taking your best lap. And we tried that. Basically, a truck came on and did almost a full lap warm up, got on the clock. And as they were halfway through their second lap, would be on their warm up lap. So we kept it kind of going seamlessly. And everyone liked it. One guy asked for maybe an extra lap. But he also is one of the buddies that comes over to the house. And I think he was the last person to show up. So he didn't get any practice. So I'm going to say show up and get at least a pack of practice, and then you'll be fine with the 2 laps. But it really kind of put everybody on the spot, and everybody felt the pressure of performing for 2 laps. And I think it provided a lot more parity than qualifying all day and giving guys extras and throwouts, which I think is fun and exciting. And I think at the end of the day, the cream always rises to the top. So even if somebody has a bad qualifying, we'll go that 2-lap qualifying. And then we're going to go straight into heads-up heat races, basically set up specifically off of that qualifying time. So if you qualified up front, you're going to get the pole. And then we took top 2 out of the 2 heats straight to the mains, and then we did double B mains because we didn't have scoring yet. So with a double main, we just took first place out of both B mains and made a 6-truck main. So with it being a tight technical track, 6 was good. I think we can pull off 8, relatively easy with a timing system. So I'm working on that this week, but really just getting qualifying done quickly, having it be that kind of cool 2-lap format, and then straight into races was really fun, and everybody had a good time.
I mean, that is very possible with 12 cars. But when I know people's gonna be like, well, we should do that at the next race. And I think that's feasible at club racing as well. But
I don't think it's feasible at club racing
really
that way.
So what would you do as club racing?
But so a big idea of mine is that you have to do qualifying heats that are more efficient. And then my thought, and this is the place that I've believe me, I've thought about this a lot, is even at a bigger race, if you had pro classes and sportsman classes, say, the pro class would go through a qualifier, whether it's IFMAR stuff or heads up heats, and then you take the top 20, say, just to give an example, doesn't necessarily have to be that, and then put those guys through that format in like a 2-3 hour finale of the pro program. Have your sportsman mains before that, and then do this 2-lap qualifying for the top 20 in the pro classes. And I think that would incentivize guys to run pro versus running sportsman and trying to get trophies, in a sense, just because they might get to do something cooler. Is just a thought that I have. Because depending on car count, like the qualifying could get long, one car at a time.
I think
that's really, go for it.
I'm sorry. So that would be your club race solution.
I think even for a bigger race, it'd be cool to do a format like that.
So we've talked about this too, like where we have to kind of have a separation. Look, we know who the pro guys are, right? We know who they are at these races. I keep going back to RCGP because it was two classes. It was the RC2 class, which ran like regular racing. And then it was the pro class, which was maybe 15 guys, about 15 drivers. And they did the gate starts and they did the heads up racing. They did 2 15-minute finals on Saturday, then a 45-minute final on Sunday. It was 2 races. What a lot of people didn't realize, it was actually 2 races in one weekend. You had a Saturday race and then you had a Sunday race. But so I'm going to give you some examples of where, because we talk about this a lot too, because Lance is a RD. So I don't know if you've been to a big race, but there are hundreds of people there and hundreds of cars, right? And it's tons. It's really about keeping the program going, because you have to get through this in a matter of time. The issue that I see is, and a lot of people say we should qualify off of just the fastest lap. The issue is we have to also, let's take a PMB for instance. PMB has 18 cars on it at one time. One RD. So the issue would be, how do you police people cutting the track? How do you police this? And the problem with the 1 lap or that type of stuff is that it just brings out some of the worst racing you could ever imagine. Not worst racing behavior, because people just trying to get that 1 lap, which is why I think the heads up racing is better. I'm all for heads up. Like I'm all for heads up qualifying, because you're racing. Like you're not even you're just racing, and then you race into the next race. I think we should get away from the seeding stuff, like the seeding practice, all that stuff. Just go practice for a day. Let's say it's open practice for a day, and then you go into heads up qualifying, right? So you're just racing constantly, racing throughout the whole weekend till you get to your finals. That's what I would.
And the format that I was saying, that's what I would do.
Right. Got you.
If I hosted a race, is go right into that qualifying, and then for the pro class, take the top 18 in points, lock them in, have your C, B main to get the last 2 spots, right? And there's never going to be a right answer for everybody. No. Not everybody. I mean, like you said, you've talked about it a bunch. People are going to hate things. People are going to love things.
But I know trying to explain IFMAR qualifying to the average person, it is fucking boring. Like,
Oh, it's super
it,
boring. And
it is
when we
boring.
watch a race, like you watch, I mean, you announce for these things. Great is it to announce this amazing battle when they're a tenth off of each other, but one guy's on that side of the racetrack and the other guy's on that side of the racetrack, and somebody that doesn't know racing goes, they're battling?
Or they're right next
How
to each other.
exciting is that?
They're right next to each other, and the guy in front is behind the guy that's in front of him.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's definitely, I think it's more exciting for the participant,
Mhm.
and I think it's more exciting for people that are watching. And that comes back to, what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to
Yeah, the
produce a
hardcore
product?
people.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a big mountain. Trust me, I've been chipping away at it for 8 years
Yeah.
now. So
There's so
but
much potential. What we do is so cool, and the pros have so much talent.
mhm.
I would love to see those guys showcased
Me
in a
too.
lot different way. One thing I think about is, like, what if we had these big races and the pro guys ran their own night and we live streamed it so it was worth watching, and then you have the guys that be there and run the same track do their 2 or 3 days afterwards. Because these live streams are 50, 60, 80 hours long.
Mhm.
Unless you're a hardcore guy, you're not going to go in there and watch 80 hours. And even the hardcore guys, we're not watching that. We wait for the pro mains and this and that and pick and choose, right?
Mhm.
But what if we put the pros on display to try to get more people that aren't necessarily hardcore RC guys to sit down and watch something for 2 hours, right?
I agree.
And that, I think, is something that, like, the format that I'm really exciting. And, like, you say, these are just examples. Use the qualifying as a way to introduce the guys and have features on the guys so they actually get to know them. Like, one of the things with the pro races is when they do the driver intros, it's kind of boring. It's just a 10-minute thing. It's not that exciting. But if you call out their names and their sponsors as they did a 30-second, 1-minute lap, showed their face, I think it'd be a lot cooler, more in line with something you'd see at Supercross or NASCAR or any other mainstream, right?
And you know, the people that are going to be against that are going to say, but then you're taking our so this is so good.
Always pros and cons, right? Always pros and cons.
The people are going to say, well, that takes away from the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, in RC, you can rub shoulders with that pro guy, right? That's a cool thing. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
Yeah, but
And
we
that,
have to think bigger.
They could go there for sure, and I'm thinking bigger. That's my thought, is bigger.
Well, good, because let me tell you something. My thing is, we fake it till we make it, right?
For sure.
I think let's say if we did this at that truck race, Crandon, right?
Mhm.
Let's say we invite the pro guys up there. We get 15 pro guys up there. We can't have guys in t-shirts and shorts, right? And mixed matched. We have to have guys that the professional guys have to look different from me and you.
So it's just like this guy going up in a suit and tie to A1 to the press conference, right? If we did that, you could have the pro guys in polos with their sponsor logos or whatever it needs to be.
That's all I'm saying.
Right? I think that's an easy one.
Have an autograph signing session.
But
Have
we
them
need
have little
that.
posters.
And I haven't really told many people this. I've told a couple people this. I would love to do that at my house. I would love to put a GoFundMe to try to raise some money to where I could bring 10 to 20 guys in and have them race for 10 to 20 grand and do this format just right at my house and live stream it. I think it'd be the coolest thing ever. I mean, I think a lack of a pro series and a format worthy of people watching the best guys in the world is one of the biggest holes in RC.
I agree. Right?
There's a lot of little things we could change, but in every motorsport, motocross, NASCAR, dirt track racing, whatever it is, there's always a championship, right? The pros don't have a championship. Those guys should be racing for, say, 50 grand to win a Triple Crown or a 5-race series and add the points up. Like, I would love to be a part of cultivating something like that.
It,
It would be amazing.
in order for that to happen, we have to get outside. We have to get outside money into RC because the issue is, I 100% agree that we need a series, right? The issue would be how would we fit a series in with the schedule that they're on? So
For sure.
RC, right? I'm going to use 8 scale because 8 scale is probably one of the more popular, more viewed things, I would say, more appealing to people. So you have your set races throughout the year that these guys go to. They know they're going to make money there. They're going to have, the manufacturers know that they're going to have lots of drivers there as well. Just, the regular guys coming to run that are supporting them. So they have to go support those races, right?
Yeah.
But I think in order for that to happen, in order for everything for you that we're talking about right now to happen, the RC public has to understand that, okay, guys, I know that you really want to see yourself being streamed and you want commentary and your family and everybody wants that at home. And that can still happen, but
for sure,
some of that has to not happen in order for us to do the big shebang, right? And do the big pro thing and all that type of stuff. And then I'm sure people are going to listen to this. Well, I'll volunteer to run a camera and I'll volunteer to. No, you won't.
Yeah.
Because once you get racing, you're not going to be doing none of that stuff and whatnot. So,
and I say all this understanding the logistics of we have to get racers there. That's how we have these events, right? But how could we do it differently?
Yeah. And my thing is, how do we grow RC racing? Because the bottom line is, as much as we're in our RC bubble, right? We're in our RC bubble, so we're into it. We know what's going on. We know that there's racing going on, but the world doesn't know. Like, I know this for a fact because I travel quite a lot. I meet lots of people, and when I tell them, "Hey, I have a podcast dedicated to RC racing," the thing is like, "What?"
Yeah.
No, I didn't even
tell
think that
people
was
all the time. I'm like, yeah, there's pros that make 6 figures racing toy cars.
Yeah,
travel around the world.
People
and they're baffled.
Exactly. So we need to get and I feel in order to, all the shorts and all that stuff helps, but we need to put our best foot forward and show that. So if we ever did a race at that Crandon stuff, I would have it where pros, like you said, they're dressed up, they look smart, have an autograph signing session, make it bigger than what it is, and I always say we have professionals in RC, but we don't use them professionally. And
I 100% agree. And that's where my feeling on the series would be to take it to the next level.
We need to be using them to promote things. We need to be, they need to be, it's getting better. They're getting more comfortable in front of cameras and stuff like that. But we're a long way off, unfortunately. I would say a long way off, but yeah, you're talking to the guy who thinks about this stuff, and
I think about this all the time.
And then you have to start, when you think about it, you have to look at the other things, right? So I try to look at everybody's point of views and whatnot, and how the things work. But yeah, I am with you, and I think most people listening to this will love to see a series. I think the pros would love to see a series. And the only thing, go ahead.
What I would say is the pros deserve better. These race weekends are so long. I would love to see those guys have their day and night where they're in the spotlight, and then maybe they hang out and help the team a little bit.
That would be fun.
But they don't have to be there maybe the whole weekend, right? Like you said, it's cool to rub shoulders with those guys and stuff, but at the same time, like if you look at motocross, say they have the supercross races, and then sometimes they'll have the tear down some of the jumps, and all the amateur guys go in and they spend the entire day there for their 10 minutes. They don't get the same spotlight as the pros. I'm kind of the opinion that the pros earn that. They have the talent, and they deserve to be showcased. And I'd love to see it.
I would like to see it at least for one race.
Yeah.
It does one race and then see how it goes, because I know the complaints that are coming. What about us? We pay our entry fees too. And right now, I can tell you that these streams that you see from a lot of these media companies are pretty much crowd funded to an extent. You know what I mean? And when I see crowdfunded, I mean through e-ticket competitions and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So for something like this to happen, we have to get that. I would like fuck. You know how many times like I've heard somebody come so close to maybe getting somebody like Monster on or Red Bull or something like
Yeah.
this, but it just falls short because we're just not big enough, right? We think we're big, but we're
Yeah.
not big enough.
I
But
mean, RC is unique
it
for
very
sure.
and not easy, right?
And the other thing is, it's like the difference between RC and sports is the spectator.
Mm-hmm. We don't have it.
We don't have it, but my question would be, how do we get it? And I think the pro showcase is the only way,
Absolutely.
right? So say we do it at Crandon the Thursday night before their big race weekend,
Mm-hmm.
put bleachers all the way around the tracks and try to get people there to watch, and live stream the heck out of that thing. And again, this is just an idea.
And you have to have somebody announcing that race to the people in a non-RC way. You know what I mean? Announcing it to people that don't like a full-scale race. You know what I mean?
For sure. My personal feeling, especially being a Supercross fan, is to have Mike Garrison for sure.
Somebody who can cater to the normal person. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Who can not
have a track that's
exactly.
exciting, have the best announcer and the best guys.
I would say have a track where. So I've said this before, and people probably tired of me hearing me saying it. There's only been one race that I know that's happened at, and it was the Manufacturers Cup 2008.
That was in Idaho, right?
Yes.
I've seen the videos, and they gave away bikes and had a bunch of cool stuff.
And those guys,
and they had a stand. They had grandstands packed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. They shot T-shirts into the crowd. They had the big easy tabletop jump. Right there in front of the crowds. They had a MC catering to the crowd. They went onto the radio stations and promoted it and said, hey, we're giving away tickets, even though they didn't charge people. You got to make people feel like they get something, right?
Yeah.
And they did it good. Actually, the guys who are part of it are all from the Pacific Northwest, I believe. Like all of them from the Washington
top 25 guy?
Rick McCreary and
McCreary.
He was a part of it. And that's who was telling me all about it. I think I don't know the exact show that I did it, but it's only audio only because I wasn't doing video at the time.
Yeah.
But it's I think I did clip it up for a few last year so people could listen to it. But the problem with that is, Jason, it's just not sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And because you have to spend a lot of money to get into it, you're not charging the spectators per se. But just imagine if we was at a race and there were a couple of thousand people watching, a couple of thousand people watching, and it has to be, just cater to that. And then, but we have to, as an industry, cater to that. Everybody has to be on board. The drivers have to be on board. The regular racer has to understand that it's not about them for that couple of hours. It's about the pro guys.
Yeah.
Yes, you still matter. Don't get me wrong. Right now, it's the bigger thing in RC that matters. So I had no idea this conversation was going to go this way, but thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I've seen the videos from that place too, and I'm curious, what you think would make that work. Like you say, have their pros have their few hours, right? Mm-hmm. So we did that on the Friday practice day, and then had Friday night the pro show with spectators, and then because the spectators aren't necessarily paying money, have the regular racers have the rest of the program Saturday and Sunday.
Good.
Or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever it may be.
Or you could do it in one day. Morning time this time, and the evening time it's going to be the pro program.
Yeah, for sure.
Behinds and seats.
My feeling, being a Northwest guy, is we have the NCT and we had the Wildy, and there's going to be some 3-day races. I would love to see those 3-day races go to 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see the pro Nitro main events on Saturday night. Justin did an awesome job with his format, but I always thought the coolest race was the 40+ special main event on Saturday because they were racing under the lights. And then the one I did last year, and I don't do too many of them, and the biggest part is just the huge time commitment to be there for the whole weekend. Like a lot of the people maybe want more track time, but what if we finished Saturday night under the lights and then people could hang out and then Sunday morning the track was open for 2-3 hours for those guys that want more track time. And then instead of leaving at 9 p.m. Sunday night, getting home and being absolutely destroyed Monday morning for your work week, you get home at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon on Sunday and have a nice relaxing afternoon. It's just one of the things I think about. A full day of practice seems long to me personally. At the one race I went to, I watched Carson Phipps rebuild all of his cars and not hit the track till like 6 p.m. And I was busy with family stuff the night before. I didn't hit the track till 6 p.m. So we only had 2 hours of practice instead of the full 8 or 10 hours or whatever it might have been. I know people want their practice and they want to get dialed in for the mains, but that's a long, long day of practice. Like I think you go into round 1 in the afternoon of practice day.
Well, so I know from, let's say we got PNB coming up, which is in about 2 weeks. Maybe this show will be out by then. I don't know. I know one of the big attractive things is the 24-hour practice, right? Now,
yeah.
So what I've noticed is, and these are a lot of the race time events are 3-day events. There is AMS, which is a 4-day event. So people will see that track, say they see the track, and they know, like for PNB, for instance, that's why it's always it gets such big numbers, is because people can knock off at work at 12 on a Friday, pack up their stuff or have their stuff already packed up and rip grass and haul ass to Tennessee. Still get practice, get set up and get practice on that. But we're talking about big races, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but on that sense, definitely, we've talked about that, or even have blocks. So like Sportsman's up at this time, intermediate. Yeah. We've done that too. Well, Lance has done that. I see saying we, but I've been a part of races that have done that. We have block practice. So from 10 till 12, it's going to be all intermediate practice, right? So you don't have the long lines. You don't have everybody trying to scramble in. I like that certain way, because then you could plan your day around it, and then it becomes
for sure.
And then if you say you're gonna have practice till 12 that night, it's just open practice from there on out, right? And that kind of runs itself. To be fair, the best type of practice is by heats, because that's the first way to do it. But then that's long day, a long ass day.
But I mean, any of these bigger races, those are long days. I know with that California race, what was it, TNR a month ago? When they were talking about they were supposed to have 4 rounds of qualifying and they could only get 2 in.
But because they did 8-minute round the first round, and let me tell you, as I've gotten to be at these races, every second counts. Like the turnaround time to run these races, like it is like you got to herd people 100%. On, and then you know how it is. You stop, you talk to your pit guy real quick, turn off your car, run or whatever. It's a challenge, right? So when you're dealing
every time I post something about this, it's always a marshal conversation. Got to get marshals on the track.
It's the simplest thing to do, right? Because you want people out there marshaling for you.
You got to start docking people laps, because if they don't get consequence, they're going to keep doing it forever. That's just my 2 cents.
Yep. And you know what? When you start docking people, so there's the other side of it. You dock people's laps, then they don't come back to your race again. But you have to do it.
You have to do it unless, I mean, it's a...
But you got to make it as seamless as possible. As I've...
Yeah, it's
a lot of conundrums there. I know, because I've seen that's why I'll never ever be a race director. Never, ever. I do not want that responsibility. People that do it and are good at it are good at what they do.
For sure.
And our race director cannot see everything that happens out there.
There's not a chance.
So,
not a chance.
All right, but I do agree with you. I think we need to make days shorter. We need to make things more exciting, and we need to put the professionals on. That is our best foot forward, because nobody wants to see me flipping and making mistakes, right? We want to see the Mayfields and the Fence and the Mason Fullers and Ungaros. We want to see these guys going out there and battling because look, what do we watch on Saturday? We watch Supercross, right? We watch the best. We don't watch the guys who didn't make it, right? But being as RC is so big and such a, I can't remember the word. Somebody's going to give me the word here in the comments later. Such a, I don't know, whatever. It's such a thing where we can mix and mingle with the pro guys as an average racer.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Great appeal. That doesn't go away. That's still there. But yeah. But you know what? We could probably do a whole podcast on this. So I want to let's talk about your backyard track. What was the inspiration for this one that you are most famous for now that we showed her earlier in the backyard? What is the sizes of it?
It's probably like 110 feet down the front straightaway. And then to the deepest point, it's only like 65 feet. So it's not that big. It was just kind of the space I found when we moved in there and started building it. Talking about potentially getting a couple trees taken down, which might open us up to a little bit more flexibility in the layout. There's one tree that's pretty close to the driver's stand, and it kind of confines us to 2 lanes right there. But I just try to be creative with the space and make something that's going to be fun and flow.
How long ago did you start that track again?
I just looked at videos. It was July 29th of 2020. So we sold our other place right at the beginning, or we bought that place right at the beginning of 2020. And then we had rented it back to the previous owner until July so their kids could finish school. And then, of course, COVID happened. And we had to move in with my in-laws for 7 weeks. I had my stuff in a trailer here at DirtFish. My wife had a baby 2 weeks later. So we had a brand newborn in my in-laws' house. And then we ended up there in July. And then I started the track about 3 weeks later. So.
Okay. And I think you have like the driver stand built into between trees and stuff like that.
It's kind of built into the trees. And then we got a pretty sweet couch down at the end. Yeah. It's a cool spot to chill, and then I can sit there and drive. Basically on the far left side, the trees make it a little tough with some of the sight lines. And as we made the driver stand a little bit bigger, it's a little challenging if you get to the far ends. But it's a fun part of it.
So I guess what do you have, like Friday night racing there, or what do you do? Like just get your boys get together?
Honestly, we just have a group of guys that'll come over when the weather's nice enough, and then like alluded to before, we're thinking about a little mini series, just like 3, maybe 4 races, starting in April, and then doing our special format. So already have A Main, Hobby Wing, China Hobby Line, and who else? I was talking to a couple more about sending us some stuff just to give away, potentially do like a raffle. Like I said before, I had a guy text me on the way here today and say he wants to come up from California and do a race. I had a kid from Illinois say he wants to fly out and do a race, that he's never been on an airplane. So I think one of the cool things that I was thinking about doing is for the first week, and then selling tickets, and then maybe using that money to fly somebody out to come race, just to do something different.
That'd be cool.
So, yeah, just something cool.
What advice would you give to somebody that's thinking of starting a backyard track right now?
Pick up a rake and a shovel and just see where it takes you. I have so much fun working on the track and then running it with the friends. Especially getting started, just start with a little oval. It's the best way to learn, and then you can build an off-road track off of that thing. I know A Main with their tracks that had the oval right in front and then had it kind of cut through. I think that's a great way to do it. Just to get started. It's a fun way to hang out with your friends. And then from there, save up the money to get some of the better stuff, because you're going to have more fun with a good radio, especially, and a decent car. I know even the smaller stuff, like I've encouraged people to get like the LC Racing mini truggies and mini buggies if they have limited space, because I think those things are just fun to run on a smaller track. So there is different options as far as cars and what to build. And then it's really just people's imagination. I mean, I've seen crazy tracks. Tilt Yard, of course, is like the famous backyard track. And then there's a guy back east. I think his name's Matt, but he rebuilds a crazy layout once or twice a year. Kind of does his own thing. I think he has a pool and puts up some YouTube videos. Builds amazing tracks. I'd have to look it up. Let me look up the guy's name really quick.
No worries.
I think I could find him.
And if you're listening to this, if you're watching this on watching this on YouTube, you can't post pictures, unfortunately. But if you're watching this on our Facebook, if you're on our Facebook post, put a picture of or a link to your backyard track in the comments so we can see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see him. That's one of the coolest things to me is people sharing that they built tracks and they're building tracks and they've been inspired. I think I've read honestly like 10 plus comments in the past month of people saying they're building tracks. And that's just cool to see. I also had, so wearing the Ken Roxon sweatshirt, I had his brother-in-law follow me, Blake Savage, if you know who he is.
Really? I don't know who he is, but
so Blake was his trainer.
Okay.
So it's his wife's brother, and actually got paralyzed riding with Kenny. And then he was his trainer for like 6-7 years, and now he's actually doing his merch. And I've chatted with him quite a few times, but he's racing RC cars and starting a track down in Utah. And it was so cool because one of the first things he said is, "Oh man, I've seen your tracks," and I think it was actually Ken that sent me a video of one of your tracks, and I thought that was just the coolest thing ever. So, super cool to see one of the guys that I idolize in Supercross, one of the baddest dudes on the planet, shared my video with his brother-in-law. So I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
I think that it's a great crossover, right? RC and motocross.
Oh, for sure.
So it's the physics is exactly the same, and you don't get hurt unless you get hit by a car.
Exactly, and that's why so many moto guys transition into RC. I know one of the Supercross guys from here in Seattle, which is funny because he up next to my parents' neighborhood, like literally like 500 feet from my parents' house. Larry Ward, he was a big RC guy. I think he drove Losi stuff, if you know the name. Yeah, his house was a stone's throw from my parents' house. So lots of crossover. And that's something I love with my track is that it's more of the moto feel with the real dirt. It breaks down and gets fun. Did you see that race that Eider went to in Mexico a couple of years ago?
Yeah, the Snore.
That track got so gnarly.
Yeah.
That looked super fun. Super fun.
It was like, where they got, like they had a crowd on the bank and they were cheering. Yeah.
That was incredible.
Badass. That was badass. But I think we are, that's our dream, right? To get one of these guys into we have Kurt Busch who's doing it, but I think that like the moto guys that crossover, like it's natural for them. I had Paul Thacker, who's from Alaska. He is he's paralyzed now too, but X Games snow machine guy, freestyler, and he says that he gets almost the same, pretty much the same feeling. He says he gets more nervous racing RC cars, but he says he gets the same sensation as he would if he was on his snow machine. So I was going to ask you, do you sort of feel
100%.
Okay.
I get more nervous with a radio in my hand than I ever did in a 700 plus horsepower sprint car.
Wow.
Because when you're in a car and you can feel it, like there's something, and like just firing a sprint car is really intense because they don't have a starter and the drive line comes out of the motor in between your legs in the cockpit. So it's intense just to fire one of those things. So they push you with a truck and it shakes a little bit, vibrates, and then you watch oil pressure come up and then you click off the mag and the mag fires the motor. If you know how airplane engines run, they have dual magnetos per cylinder or dual mags. For redundancy, that's the same thing that runs a sprint car motor. Is they have a mag sitting up in the back of the motor that fires because they don't have a battery, they don't have a starter or anything like that. Self-sustaining system.
I'm surprised you're not more into Dart Oval coming from that.
I have one at my house, but I love the off-road cars. I love making the jumps and berms and stuff like that. We just run short course trucks on my little oval and kind of beat each other up and have a good time. I enjoy it, but it's just not as fun as off-road stuff to me.
Dirt oval's growing really fast right now, nationwide in the USA. It's I think I attribute a lot of that to like the Slash modified and the Losi Sprint as well. Makes it easy and simple. I wish Traxxas now needs to come out with a wing sprint and all that type of stuff too.
Yeah.
But it has to be the same.
I think, like you said about traction and having a track be easier to drive, I think that goes hand in hand with oval. So especially guys building their own tracks, I think that's the best place to start because you learn how to drive a car, learn how to find the straightaways and not necessarily worry about crashing on the jumps right out of the gate. And oval is super satisfying to run laps. 10 people come to my house and at least 5 of them go, yeah, cool. And then when we do it, that was maybe the most I've ever had with an RC car.
Really?
Yes.
I have a buddy that's into oval right now, and he's always building and he's sending me pictures of what the car, like what the different things on the cars. Like, I know nothing about this world. I've been to 2 NASCAR races in my life. I love them both. But I've driven an oval car. I think I drove a sprint car for a couple of laps, and I drove a modified once. I thought it was fun. I like to do it. I like to race it. I'll get a chance to race it. I get it. And I think it's fairly easy, right? You don't need that much space. You don't need a big driver stand. You know? So it's definitely gaining a lot of popularity and becoming bigger and bigger. I've seen a lot more dirt oval popping up.
I think the quality of racing has the potential to be so good.
Okay.
Because it's potentially easier, right?
And people could, like, the average person could get into it, right? You turn left.
What I will say is it's usually a shorter race day.
It's like 4 minutes, right? For a race.
I just mean in general, like our local program, it's usually a Friday night thing. So guys aren't showing up till like 6 and they're there for 3-4 hours. It's not a full day.
I would agree with you because my first exposure to dirt oval was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Somebody invited me, hey, you know what happened? I think it was a Wednesday night. So I remember my buddy, he's from Charlotte, and we pulled up to some driveway and went in the back of the woods. And it's like, Lefty, where are we going? I said, I have no idea. And then
that's what people think coming to my house for sure.
Well, and then we just come, and then it's like lights, dirt oval, like hundreds. It had to be a couple of hundred people there on a Wednesday night just doing oval. And it was fun. Awesome. It was fun. I had a good evening. That was my first exposure to it.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance A-scale, 10-scale, Nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
All right. I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. Tell us a little bit about working at DirtFish. What is DirtFish? For those out there that don't know what it is, you're there right now.
So DirtFish is a rally school. Essentially, we just teach people car control in prepared rally cars. So we have STIs and BRZ. So STI is the all-wheel drive traditional rally car. Same thing you're going to see Travis Pastrana drive, or at least 8-10 years ago it was the same car. And then we have the rear wheel drive BRZ as well. Those things are super fun to drive. Rear wheel drive, sideways. Car 12 right there. So I've been doing that for about 10 years. It's super fun to teach and drive and all the things. And then just went out to Wisconsin for an ice driving deal, where we basically put people in cars with studded tires and teach them some techniques. It's not as hands-on one-on-one as DirtFish is, but really fun experience. The quality of instruction, especially here at DirtFish, is amazing because we're going to sit there with you on comms the whole time and tell you how to drive the thing. So it's really fun. And then I'm back full time now, but I was part time for a few years, learning how to fly. I'm actually a flight instructor too, so that's one thing I haven't told you. So be teaching people how to land airplanes, hopefully here real soon.
Oh, so you're a jack of many trades.
Many trades.
But did you do rally car racing prior to this, or was just all wing spring cars?
No, it was dirt oval stuff. And like I said, my dad ran the off-road cars. And then actually before I went to flight school, we were looking at off-road cars to try to do some off-road racing, but decided to go to flight school instead. If and when the budget's there, I want to do some off-road racing. Because that's what my dad did, and it's something I've always loved. But it's just a little bit farther away as far as availability goes. So
we're talking about like short course trucks, right?
Short course. Yeah.
That stuff looks so awesome.
So awesome, especially the Pro 4s, Pro 2s. But even the UTV stuff, I think the potential for growth with the UTVs with manufacturer support is really there, and just more affordable than the crazy cost of the trucks. The UTV
stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, all that stuff's awesome. I've never been to anything like that, so I just would love to go see stuff like that. I'm trying to knock off little bucket list things like that on my trips as well when feasible. Yeah. But that's cool, man.
And to a top fuel race.
Well, they were trying to get me to stay so I could go to Gator Nationals, which happened last weekend. But I was like, no, man. I gotta
put that up on the list too. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, I heard that too. So I got a lot to do, man. You guys in America, man, you guys love your motorsports, man. And it's so many.
I got lucky to work with a couple of those guys.
Oh yeah,
a couple of them came to the school, and then we got to go down and go in the trailer and watch them rebuild an engine, which was really cool.
Well, before we go, tell me like a typical day would be with you if somebody that like I wanted to learn how to. If I came and I wanted to drive a rally car, what would we do?
Yeah, depending on what program you're going to jump into, like we have half days, 1 days, and then 3 days are kind of our most common thing. And every day you're going to come in, go through a classroom from 25 to 45 minutes, basically talking about techniques and what courses we're going to run. And then usually you'll go down, we'll get in and walk you through it. So if it's a braking drill, I'm going to show you a couple demos on the braking stuff. We'll swap seats, let you drive it, do the drill. And then from the drill, we always go to a course. And same thing, I'll demo and drive it for you first. And then I'll be on the headset with you, talking you through every step of the way. So it's pretty cool, especially with 3 days, to see how fast somebody can get and how much they can progress in 3 days. Which isn't, in the grand scheme of things, all that much time, but it's enough to figure some stuff out. And we put you on some pretty cool courses towards the end. It's like a 2.5 mile loop through the woods and up through a tarmac section and then back out into the woods. So it's fun. We've hit trees and
is rally
cars and done all sorts of stuff. So
awesome. Is rally popular up there in the Pacific Northwest?
It's a pretty good spot for it. Rally is definitely more of a European sport.
Finland.
For sure. And that's where you get the crazy spectators and all that stuff. But there's some decent events around here. I think we had 3 national events within at least a handful of hours. But a lot of those guys are traveling across the country to hit all the events. So it's one of those sports you travel a long way for. Honestly, similar to some of the top RC guys, they're traveling across the country.
Okay.
Luckily, they can put cars in bags and not have to tow them. So.
It's funny because at the last race I was at there in Florida, we had a guy, Andrew was his name, and he does all the film work and editing for CJ Cars, I think it is. They do or on YouTube. They do a lot of Cletus's special one-off cars. Okay. Right?
Nice.
And so he came, it was funny. He came in with a crawler at the race. And I said, hey dude, there's a crawler track right up there. Go check it out. And he came like on a Thursday. And then he came back Friday and he started his crawler because he wanted us to go crawling with him because I have my crawler too. But then I said, look, you need to come Saturday when the racing starts, right? Dude, he's like, I can't. I got to do this. I can't. He came Saturday. That dude left with an e-buggy and a Nitro buggy. And he was in there saying this stuff, but he also, I think time is a big issue, right? The same thing, like being there all day. But he was like, he goes, yeah, RC can be expensive, but it's nothing compared to what we do in the full scale world of things. And so it's unique. whenever I get it, RC can be as expensive as you want it to be
Yes.
as well. Don't get me wrong, but you can also do it on a budget and a lot less than what you can do full scale. But then the argument would be, well, in the full scale, I get to sit in it and do this. And I say, yeah, but you also might not go to work on Monday.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So
people say that about the sprint car stuff all the time. You know, they're definitely not the safest thing on the planet. And I mean, I encourage people all the time, especially if you're getting into it, go look for used stuff and get it half price or at the same price as the ready to run stuff. And it's not that hard to change some out drives and some bearings and this and that and have it be a really, really good performance truck, especially if you're not super serious about going racing, but want the good quality stuff.
I agree. Also, I think for RC, we need good quality entry level priced vehicles. Like,
yeah,
this is something else that SRX just released an awesome looking e-buggy. I know TLR has a good e-buggy I've seen at races. And I think that's where it has to come to. Something that's a good price point, $700 to $800, brand new, that people can go take it and still put some tires on it and be somewhat, enjoy themselves and not have a piece of shit out there breaking on them, but something that works.
Yeah, and hopefully the radio can be tuned a little bit or get a decent radio and have somebody help you. Because I know I had a buddy grab one of the like TR tuned Armas, and I thought with a set of tires on it, and then with a radio with some expo in the throttle, so it actually responded a little bit quicker. I thought it was plenty drivable for somebody to go out and race with it.
I've seen them at big races that I've traveled to that people still race with them.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, like you said, it's something we definitely need. And that's exactly why I lean people, especially thinking about even coming and just running to my house, I push them towards techno stuff used. You know,
you can't go wrong with that because Techno's got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Get
a techno used.
I am a true attestament to that because I have put my e-truggy through some bad crashes and knock on wood, I have not broken anything yet. So, and it's completely stock.
I've hit some stuff with this guy for sure.
Wow.
And she's still hanging tough.
I'm looking forward to when Techno, if they do it, the 8 scale version of that.
Oh, I'm gonna get one.
Yeah. I know we don't need more classes in RC racing, but I'm okay with
more classes.
But I'm okay with 8 scale short course truck because we need that realistic looking vehicle scale.
100%. We need things that people are going to see in full scale and go, oh, I'll get one of those. That looks like something I could potentially go race. And it's sad to see it kind of diminish.
It comes and goes.
I think we know the reputation of the class in some senses, but it's just such a fun truck to drive. And honestly, with the open wheel stuff, you can't get up next to each other and hit each other in the door.
That's what I like about it. You can hit each other.
Oh, for sure. And as long as you're not pile driving somebody and spinning them out, it's so fun to get up and rub. And I think the technicality of my track makes it fun. Like I was watching through the videos and there's a handful of times where getting into me and turning me and we're not spinning each other out. And we're cordial enough to back off a little bit and stay on track. And it's just fun.
Well, it looks like the real thing, right? Because they got into each other and keep on going as well. So
yeah, exactly.
It looks very skilled. And to believe it or not, your track, when I watch those trucks, here's what your track reminds me of. Remember the Ivan Stewart game that we used to play?
Oh man, that was my favorite.
It reminds me of that.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, my dad ran in the Mickey Thompson series back in the early 90s. So that was definitely something I grew up around. And we had one of those at a Pizza Hut where we would do like sports parties.
At the 4 steering wheels?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'm sure my parents had to rip me off of that thing. So
I got to see, I posted it up on my Facebook when I went to Daytona a few weeks ago. And I got to see his truck and I was so shocked at how small it was.
They're small. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, they used to race these in stadiums. So
yep, they did. I was so disappointed when Robbie brought those trucks out and within a year they were on road courses with wood jumps. It had so much potential to be
That's in Australia though, right? Or they do that in the US?
All over the place. All over the place. I know that they've done it at like Long Beach. But they had a race at Glen Helen,
Really?
and it was super cool. Super, super cool.
I'm not gonna lie though. Them trucks on the on road and taking those jumps and the way they're flying, that looks badass.
They're cool. They're cool. But as an off-road guy, it hurts my heart to see them on pavement.
But
That's what I'll say.
are those the same trucks that they raced that we're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Robbie's trucks. This
Robbie Gordon, right?
Yeah, this stadium super trucks is what he called it.
I think I'm not gonna lie, they do look wicked. But it's not.
I read that too. I had buddies go to the Portland race and they said that was the coolest part of it. But I want to see him ripping off fenders at Crandon in the dirt myself.
And like when they get into those 4-wheel drifts around the corners and the freaking all up in the cushion and the like darts flying. That's cool. That's cool. Are we gonna see you at any big races in the future? Any plans to do anything like that? I mean travel races.
I've always wanted to go to races. I know I was down in Palm Springs and I have a place to stay really close to Palm Desert.
Chris's track.
Yeah, and I think it was like an hour and 20 minutes to the dirt and an hour to Drake's track. Definitely, maybe. I do want to take some 8-scale stuff down there and run. And I know the Proline track is right there too.
Not no more though. I don't think it's
open
anymore.
In May?
Yeah. I don't even think they're in that facility anymore.
Really? I swear I saw it on the calendar for JBRL, but
it might be. I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be. It might be still there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure somebody will let me know how wrong I am in the comments.
I tried to go run at the dirt in November, but it rained out. Yeah. As far as big races, I don't know. I definitely want to, but it hasn't been a big enough priority yet. So.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, come down to the Southeast. I think the Southeast would love to have you down there. And we have a couple of good arena races. So you got a guaranteed race. You have 8 to choose from.
Yeah,
7 to choose from there. So hopefully you come down. If you ever want to come down, let us know. We'll get you hooked up. Got a pit.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch. I definitely, especially from like a content perspective, want to share more. The long form stuff I struggle to sit down and edit, but I definitely want to do more of it. So we'll see what the future holds.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad we got to connect. And there's the thing. I really check TikTok messages. I barely go on TikTok nowadays. So I just happened to see that you messaged me, and that's how we kind of got in contact. And Lance is a big fan of yours. He's like, man, I love that Racing Jason track. So we was talking about you too. So,
well, love to have you guys out to this side too. Maybe we'll give you a ride in a rally car and get you out to the track and play. So,
sounds good to me. Jason, if you ever want to come to the Southeast, let us know. We'll get you set up. Thank you for all the content you make, because the more content that you make, the more people see it. The more everybody out there, all the content creators, congratulations with your badass backyard track, probably one of the most popular tracks in the world, backyard tracks in the world. And let us know how the racing goes and the format and how people like it. Yeah,
we'll be those for sure, all the way through the process. We'll see how it's received, and we'll figure out the kinks and iron out some of the stuff along the way. So I just hope to get people picking up radios and having fun and getting their kids outside and having fun with buddies and friends. And RC cars are just fun. So I love it. And honestly, I was building tracks before I ever thought about sharing videos. And one day I just finally thought, this stuff's really cool. It's kind of sad if I'm the only one that sees it. So I should just share it in some way, shape, or form. So I really appreciate you saying that. And hopefully we'll stay in touch and keep growing this thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you for your time, and enjoy your time. Enjoy your racing this weekend or this season, because the snow's got to go away.
Yeah, so, we're gonna kick off here in like 3 weeks, I think. So
awesome.
Gotta get the snow out of here. So
awesome.
I appreciate it, man.
Sure. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you too.
Are you looking to take your ride-on car to the next level? Ride-on cars are fun and look good, but they're just too slow. ML Toys makes it easy. With plug-and-play modifications like motors, speed and brake controls, advanced gearing options, 4-point safety harnesses, and lighting upgrades like emergency lights, underglow kits, and headlights, ML Toys is the one-stop shop to make your ride-on car the coolest ride-on car in the neighborhood.
A big shout out to High Tech RCD for their continued support. Are you looking for top tier performance and reliability in your RC setup? High Tech RCD has you covered with industry leading chargers and servos for both surface, air, and marine applications. Whether you're bashing racing, taking to the skies, or the river or ocean, High Tech's advanced technology keeps you going. It delivers precision, power, and durability when you need it most. From high torque servos to smart, efficient charging solutions, trust High Tech to keep you in control. High Tech, powering passion, elevating performance. Visit www.hightechrcd.com today. 2-1. Sidewinder Fuels, a big shout out to them and thank you for their continued support. Morgan Fuel has collaborated with many of the world's top drivers for over 45 years. This has enabled them to test our fuels in the many of the most challenging situations and take the development of competition fuels to the next level. The result is Sidewinder, the market's most powerful racing fuel. This fuel is track tested and proven by national and world champions such as Ryan Cavallari, Ryan Mayfield, Greg Degani, Mark Pavidis, and their top driver right now is the up-and-coming rising star, V. Long Win, and many more. These drivers appreciate that Sidewinder is blended perfectly for high performance needs of competitive racing. Don't let victory slip through your fingers. Purchase Sidewinder today. Thank you, Jason, for your time. We greatly appreciate you coming on, and keep up the good work with your awesome backyard track there. It looks amazing. Every time I watch a video there, I just sit there and watch it because I just love how the cars perfectly glide around it. It's like, looks like so much fun. And keep being a great RC ambassador, and good luck with everything up there in the driving school. That is amazing. First time I ever met somebody that teaches people how to drive. So that's really cool. And is into RC. So hopefully we can get some crossover there. We guys hope you guys enjoyed this show. It's good. We're talking to different people in the industry or doing things in the industry as well. If you have any suggestions for some guests, let us know. We're always looking to interview people who are doing cool things in RC. I want to say a big shout out to all of the NNRC squad around the world. Without you guys, none of this is possible. Let's keep hitting that sub, like, and notification button on YouTube. If you're listening to us on audio only, come over. You'll probably enjoy the experience a little bit more over on YouTube because it's a more visual. And please hit that sub, like, and notification button on YouTube. Help us get to 10,000 subs and beyond. Also, a big shout out to the patrons and YouTube members of the No Name RC podcast. If you like what we're doing, in the written description, you can find links to our Patreon and to our YouTube members. You get early access to podcasts, and once in a while, we do some live shows and stuff there as well. Patreon-only content as well. And for the price of a cup of coffee per month, you can help make this podcast better. Thank you guys for all the support. Also, a big shout out to all the companies that make this possible. We have links for them in the written description of this podcast. They are J Concepts, High Tech RCD, Sidewinder Fuels, Invisible Speed, ML Toys, Beach RC, Techno RC, Mayako, A-Main Hobbies, Elite RC Productions, SMC Racing Batteries, Get Shiz Done Coffee, and don't forget Shaw's Truck Nationals coming up October 16th, 17th, 18th in Ardmore, Oklahoma at Shaw's, beautiful Shaw's Raceway. Awesome place. Absolutely beautiful. I want to say a big thank you to all of you guys out there. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you to Racing Jason, and I'll see you in the next one. Lefty is out. Ta-ta for now. Be a good RC ambassador, everybody.